Okay, go back to what you're talking about.
Yes. As this week in the Slack, they were talking about the connections and the long range antennas and that kind of thing. I wasn't able to fully follow the conversation, but as now I am in the States, I'm trying to build a network in a food truck, and it's very similar to the case of the robot. So I'm using a MikroTik router that works with 4G, and I'm using Google Fi as a provider for the cellular network. It was very easy to set up. MikroTik, it isn't easy. It's not for everyone because Router OS got a very slow learning curve, but I found out that it's very reliable and it's very affordable hardware. And as I'm testing now, it got a very good connection because here where I wasn't able to use the tethering by the phone, but with the modem, it's really useful. And this is the lowest end of the line of hardware of MikroTik providing 4G communication. From here you can go upstairs, and there is there are very good pieces of hardware that let you put omnidirectional antennas outside. This hardware got the antenna inside the hardware, so it's not a very how can I say powerful antenna. But when you rely on an external antenna, I think that will be much better. So this this week I was trying to work with this. I think that I was able to set up. And one important thing that I think that is a great plus that I mentioned in the Slack channel is that MikroTik got a specific package for zero tier to make much easier the configuration of a network. And working with ROS, it's always having problem with the networks and trying to link your biases with the sensors and all that kind of thing. So I wasn't able to test the zero tier package, but I was able to make it work. I think that next week I will test the zero tier package on the router and see if I can get all the networks linked together, the network here in United States with the networks in Argentina. One point. And the other point was that as I came to the US, I bring some of the boards that I got, and I bring this one, a classic, an Arduino Uno board, and I bring the boards that I'm working is the same as you, this one, and an ESP32, and I got the blue pill. Maybe I lost a week because I was trying to make work a GPS that I got, a GPS board, an U-block, but I think that is burned because I wasn't able to light up the lights of the main board. So I leave it, and one of the things that I wanted to ask you was which board do you recommend me to buy to try to work here with my board? So which GPS board to pull that to the ROS system?
All right. Do you want RTK GPS or just want any GPS just to play with?
No,
Because
no,
you
no.
because you can buy a really cheap one just to if you're just trying to do the NEMA decode DEMA messages.
Yes, I want something cheap because I got the RTK board in Argentina, the Swift navigation board. So I want something cheap and try for trying to use on board, maybe to get some kind of gain in the robot and to play here while I'm here in the States.
You can get these. They're like $30 or something. I think it's just a thing that plugs into your USB. And this particular one is a I can't remember what the brand name is.
No, but I want to use it with the Arduino or the ESP32. So I need some kind of board that I can connect it through Warp. The one that I was trying to use in Argentina, I think that is burned. So something similar. Maybe I have to buy another U-block board.
Well, if you just go on Amazon or eBay, there's lots of the little modules that are just a module that's got you hook up power and ground and get the signal out of it. For like $20 or something, you can get them.
Okay.
Just basically any of them. If you just need a signal, even if it's just simply GPS and doesn't have the other constellations, or if you get the newer ones, you might have to pay a little more for them to get the multiple constellations. But any of them will tell you where you are and give you a heading and a velocity. They're not highly accurate, but they will work.
Okay.
And if you look at them, they'll tell you, most of them, like the little module like that, just have a serial interface, probably at logic level, signals coming out. So you could just hook the module directly to whichever board you're trying to use. But take a look at them and see what they say, what their voltages are, and so forth.
Okay. So I got nothing more than that. The other thing that while I was trying to use the Arduino Uno board, I come out with something that I forgot that was a problem. The first time that I worked it is that the ROS Serial library that is for the Arduino Uno, the last version doesn't work with this. You have to use the 0.79 version, not the 0.9 version. You have to go to the not the last one, the other. Because it gives you an error, so you have to go back to another version to make it work. I was testing yesterday the chatter, and I wasn't able to do it, but it's a problem that it's. I will post I was trying to build some kind of documentation, and here in the chat. Oh. No, I don't know why I'm not able to. there. That's the issue that is in the, and the solution is, maybe there is another one, but the easiest one was, there. I got nothing more.
Well, that particular library you're talking about there, does that just for the Arduino Uno, or does it work on the other? Say if you could run on Blue Pill, would it work on that, or do you have to have? I know a couple other links you posted before were not specific Arduino IDE. They were the one for the Blue Pill was some kind of SD micro thing, and I don't remember if they were the ones. I was just curious if you found one package that runs on everything, or if you have to have one specific for the board.
No, this package runs in every board. Not so smoothly. It's the ROS Serial library. It's a very important library. You get, when you upload it in the Arduino, you get the examples, and that's quite good. And theoretically, you can use it in all the boards that are supported. STM32 boards, ESP32 boards are supported. And
I lost you.
I found out that, what?
Your signal dropped out.
Okay. Yes, as I was saying, that the Arduino, no, the ROS lib for the Arduino works with the Arduino and STM32, ESP32, and I think other boards. It's not so reliable sometimes, but it's enough for that. I use it with the Blue Pill and the Arduino, the ESP32, and I think the Arduino Nano, another one. It's a bridge for USB, and it got other functions. I was able to pull through the Arduino Uno sensors and that kind of things, like temperature sensors, buttons, and I run through the examples that the library gives you, and I was able to pull it, and I was able to pull them through the library to the simulator, the ROS Agriculture Simulator through the ROS Bridge. It's, for me, it was important. One of the things that I was trying to do with the GPS was to do the same thing, to pull the data to the GPS and the accelerometer, but I wasn't able to. The accelerometer, I got the accelerometer working with the Arduino Uno. It's a simple accelerometer, I61 or 66, I don't remember. I get the data pool, but I'm not sure if I was doing it right. I wasn't able. What I was trying is to pull the data to the simulation and to get the robot to spin while I was moving the accelerometer, because I saw in a video that you can do that, but I wasn't able to do it.
The data doesn't come across, or where you just couldn't get it connected to the motor. What was the problem on that?
No. I think that the problem was that I wasn't able to pull the right way the topics. So what that must not be something so difficult to solve. I wasn't able. I wasn't pulling or publishing the right the data in the right topics. I think that was the main problem. But
Uh,
in the things that I got to do, I will try to get a sensor here, the accelerometer and the GPS. I'll try to build it again and try to test it.
I just noticed that I'm able to admit people from the waiting room because Ross just signed on and I clicked on it and I had the option to do that. So
Yeah, now you are the host. You can do everything.
oh, well, if I'm the host, then I guess I have all the power then. I was going to interrupt you and tell you to admit him, but I guess you couldn't if you're not the host. So.
No, nothing more.
Okay, and is your particular experiment you're doing right now, if you were just take the number from the accelerometer and stick it into the chatter topic, you could send it across just to see, see the number come across.
Yes.
So that'd be a quick test you could do to verify.
No, I was yes, it's okay. It's okay. It's really an easy test. I didn't think it that way. I would try to, when I get the accelerometer, I think that next week I will try to do it. This week I got to, I don't know. No. I bring the accelerometer. I wasn't sure if so I will try it. I thought that I leave it in Argentina, the accelerometer, but I bring it, so I will try it. I don't know. Look, this is a mess. I wasn't able to find it. I brought the accelerometer and I brought this one too. It's a relay. It's a shame that I forget to bring some buttons, because the buttons sometimes, well, maybe I can play with something here.
Okay. And now that you're in the US, it's very easy to just go on Amazon and get stuff ordered that shows up a couple days later. So that
Yeah,
if you do get into that case,
it's easy.
Yeah. So I see Ross is on today.
Okay.
Yeah, hi guys. Just thought I'd drop in and say hi. I got running around doing stuff today, so only be in for a couple minutes. Just thought I'd drop in.
Okay. I was curious. I know a couple times people said, how much property do you have? And you said you have 1 square mile fields is what you're running in.
Yeah, just everything on here, around this area is typically on a 1 mile grid. So I thought if there was like a base or something that I could use on the side of the field to get a nice stream of data that was reliable. I was kind of thinking about one of those Ubiquiti Omni antennas, or maybe one of the, like the M5 Rocket directionals, and then some sort of a tracker. What I meant about the shock and vibe is not the mounting to the tractor itself, but if the tracking mechanism was on the tractor, having something that would take a nice shock load in the field it would be like the challenge. Most of the I guess the hobby gimbal setups are not very rugged that I've seen, so it needs something more substantial than that, where if you had the base station on the side of the field tracking, it doesn't have to be nearly as robust because it doesn't have to take any shock load.
Yeah, the other thing I was thinking about that, instead of putting your device at the side of the field, put it in one corner. And if you got a directional antenna that directs most of the signal to the front, it could be if you just point it at the center of the field, that'll give you enough signal strength out into the field. And possibly on your tractor, just put an omnidirectional antenna. So just put like the little whip antenna or whatever. And it could be that would work for you. That might be that'd be worth a try.
Yeah, is anybody setting up like a RTK signal on the side of their field as well, or are most of the guys running a differential on two antennas on their unit.
No,
Well,
I run the RTK too. Where are you? Sorry for asking.
Middle of Kansas is where I'm at. So middle of the U.S. I'm pretty close to the geographical center of the U.S. actually.
Okay, but it's a place with trees, because the main problem with the ubiquity unidirectional antenna is you have to get the IC of the antenna. If you got somewhere that you can pull up the antenna like a tower and put it there, you will work with every system that you are talking.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem. Is getting the height on the field side. Yeah, I agree. I don't know that nothing that comes to mind is easy. And I can put something up close to a couple of the sites, but I kind of want something portable in case I decide to move somewhere to demo it or use it somewhere else. So, but anyhow, like I say, I'm not quite there yet. So
the best solution for that is using cellular communication. I live in the field, and there is nothing more reliable at the field than mobile communication. When you got mobile communication, if you don't got mobile communication, maybe you got to go to another kind of technology. But if you can use the cellular network, will be much easier for you.
Yeah, certainly. Around here, Verizon's kind of one of the only kind of more reliable networks, and so like an MVNO can be kind of inexpensive, but they throttle it quite a bit. Typically, in order to do like a Verizon plan, ends up being pretty pricey for a mobile hotspot or one of those. Now, I'm not familiar with the device you've linked. I have used Cradlepoint before, which is kind of similar to, I think, probably what the device you linked, which is has a little bit more than just a gateway function, right?
Yes,
it's kind of
yes.
a
It's
router.
not only a gateway; it's a router. It's a router with a gateway 4G or 3G or 2G gateway. There are both things there.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like that's definitely the easiest thing to get started with. And then I don't know what you end up paying for a data plan, or if you're just able to use a regular cellular data plan and then just plug them over.
You will pay $25 in each of the points. So totally, you will pay $50 a month to test it. It's not cheap, but it's a reliable technology.
Do you know what you get for the data throughput typically?
For the 25, I use Google Fi. I'm not sure if those plans are in Verizon as you are talking, but you won't use more than 2 gigabytes of data in a month, because as you are in the field and you are sending information, it's not so much information unless you send video. But when you do the updates and all that kind of things, maybe you can use other technologies, because you can bring it to your home and there you will have another type of connections, maybe a fiber or that kind of things. But when you are in the field, the information going through the ROS system is not something heavy. It's more very lightweight. Only when you transfer video or some kind of media from the tractor will be costly.
Yeah, certainly. That the video is kind of what I was concerned about. I wanted something that was to be able to see while I'm getting started. But yeah, at any rate, I mean, I think just getting started is probably worthwhile on it. I do have one of the I think it's Seeeduino is the brand, LORA WAN radios set up as well. And so I've thought about trying to use that because it actually has range for all the areas that I'm hitting. But I haven't set up any of the endpoints for it yet. So, but yeah, a couple different ways to slice up the problem. So, yeah, we'll see what I decide to come up with there that sort of works out. But
And I personally haven't experimented with a lot of networking. Number one, I don't live on a farm with a big field, so I don't have quite as much problem. And I live in town and I just drive around the block with my stuff. And I got just a little cellular hotspot, a cheap one, and then I use that to get my correction data from the internet for my GPS is the main thing that I use it for. And I originally had a free data plan, and then they screwed me and said you got to get something else. Now I have to pay $4 a month to get I get 350 megabytes of data per month for very cheap. So that keeps me happy. And back to the comment about how
it's like they give you a second SIM or something, and then it just goes on your regular data allotment, something like that.
Well, this is a totally separate plan. So I bought the hotspot separately. It's just a piece of hardware, and then I just ordered a SIM card for it, so it's not on with a phone or anything.
Okay, who's your provider for that? Is it?
I think they're called Pop something. Freedom Pop is what it's called. It's just somebody on the internet that offers this.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of trying to look for some options. I mean, I don't know. Well, I've got to do a little bit more digging to see what kind of works reliably. Like AT&T and T-Mobile carriers, they switch over a lot and they drop in my area. So it almost has to be something that is resold on Verizon's network, unfortunately, which so, but we'll see what happens there. So.
And as far as the comment about how much data do you have to move back and forth, as far as ROS goes, it's up to you how much data you want to send. You could put all your navigation software at one end and then put your vehicle at the other end, or you could put everything right on the vehicle and you basically send almost nothing back and forth except trying to monitor, say, your location and your speeds and all that kind of stuff. So it's really up to you on that, how you want to do that. And if you want, you can push video through ROS, or you can just have a separate channel running to run your video.
Over that, your stick if you want to move it without, without the system engaged, I'll call it.
Yeah, speaking of your cellular connection, a lot of that just dropped out. I didn't get most of what you just said.
Yeah, I didn't know if you run your joystick over that same connection as well, or.
I personally don't, but you can. You can do that. So it's again just up to you how you want to do that.
Yes, I was able to do it.
Mine, I have a separate remote control box that's just it's a little Harbor Freight plastic box that I bought. It's got a LORA radio, so it's got a separate communication channel that doesn't go through Wi-Fi. But then there's, I can have a Wi-Fi connection if I chose to do so. Something in parallel.
Right. Well, I'm almost to a destination here, so I'm gonna jump off. But I just thought I'd drop in and see a bunch of these. So.
Oh, good to have you on. And good luck with your networks.
Thank you.
Bye.
I'll keep you updated.
Okay.
Chef,
Yes.
do you have something?
Well, I've got a couple things I could talk about that,
Okay.
you know, at one point I said I had my LED status strip on the back of my robot. So I can, from a ROS node, I can send message down and turn the lights on. And basically I use this is what I call the medium density LED strip. And you can buy it a meter or 5 meters at a roll. You can buy them on rolls like this, and then you just cut them up. So this happens to be the PC board has a white background on this one, or you can buy it like this that has a black background. So depending on, you know, just for aesthetics, I thought I'd use the black one to put on my robot. Because the robot is black where I want to put the thing on. And then the other one is you can get, so if I put these on the medium density ones, I think I can get 18 LEDs in the space that I have, or they have the high density LED strips. And these I can get, see right here, the LEDs are almost side by side. That's the density of the things. And if you want to, you can even get smaller ones and they're side by side. So you could probably even get higher density than that if you really wanted to. And this one also has the silicone covering on it, so it's fully waterproof. But one thing, I don't know then how because I don't think glue will stick to the silicone. So that might be a problem too to mount the thing. So I might just cut the silicone coating off and throw it away and go ahead and use one of these on it.
The silicone will stick to that, I think.
You think so? I thought if they're both silicone, that might work, but I haven't tried that. Yeah, it wouldn't be that. If I use silicone, it wouldn't be that hard to peel off the other thing. So it wouldn't be a permanent. I won't make a permanent mess out of it if I try that. So I was thinking about writing up my project on the doing those displays, and basically it's just an Arduino Nano board, and then however long a strip of LEDs you want is what really the main pieces. And then if you use the Arduino Nano, that gives you the USB port, so you can plug right into a ROS computer. So now you can send ROS messages down and turn on whatever LEDs you want. And
Okay.
and then if you wanted to run it off, say just a microcontroller, a different microcontroller, you could get the smaller Arduino, what do you call it, Arduino Pro Mini, that does not have, it doesn't have the USB port. So that way you could connect that directly to, say, a different microcontroller if you didn't want to go through ROS to do that. So that would just be another option on that. So I thought I should write all it up and say, you know, this is what you can do and this is what I did, and just so it's written down somewhere so people can see that.
And which protocol are you going to use to communicate the Arduino to ROS? As you plug it through USB, are you going to use ROS Serial? No, you use your own protocol.
Yeah, it's a very simple protocol. So if you just plug it into it, say your Arduino and you got a terminal there, you just type in number, common number, common number. So each number is a color. So it's just a line of text that you send out. So then on the ROS side, I just wrote up a node that said, subscribe to whatever I want to post. So for instance, I subscribe to both GPS receivers and I can pull the status off of those. I subscribe to the two IMUs that I've got, and I can pull the status off. So I just take whatever numbers I want and then just connect to the Nano. I just say open a USB port and just do a print and say print out the values, and then they just show up out there and the LEDs turn on and off.
Okay.
So there's nothing special about it. It's just a brute force. You know, I know LED 3 needs to be green, so I just say on the line, the third entry, I put up whatever number to make the color green. And you really got a lot of flexibility, because, you know, it's just a matter of, you know, once you get it to that point, you get the Arduino Nano talking over a serial port. As I say, you can connect it to a serial terminal or whatever you want to send messages to turn things on and off, or you could write a ROS node then to do that. And you can extend that out. I was thinking about, with the high density LEDs, make a bar graph option, so I can say, you know, if I wanted to watch my steering, I could put a bar graph across the back of it so I can see You know, if it wants to turn right or wants to turn left, you know, you can watch the bar graph move back and forth. Or you can say take signal strength from GPS and put on a bar graph. So there's you know, lots of things you can do. It's just a matter of you just wire these things together and away you go, basically. So anyway, I started looking at that, and I haven't got it. I haven't started writing it up yet, but that's something I was doing. And then the other thing I was doing, Al was talking about doing remote control with the LORA radios, and Bob has bought a couple of radio modules for the stuff he's doing. And when I started off, I bought this board from Adafruit. It's a little board that's got the LORA radio module. That's at this end, the LORA radio module, and then in the middle, it's got a some kind of a ARM processor right on the thing. So this is a complete module. You just put power on it, and it works. And this is the antenna. They said put a 3-inch piece of wire on it for this particular frequency, and so basically one of these is in my remote control module right now. So it's essentially an Arduino that has radio on it, and I put that in my remote control. And I thought I ran out of I/O pins, but I went back and looked at the card here for I don't have that one, but I looked at it. Boy, there's lots of pins on there. Why don't I have enough? Well, it turns out some of the pins are already used to talk to the radio, and you got at least one that talks to your LED, and they got, you know, some of them are pre-used. So it could be if I'd go back and look at it, I have more pins available, but I decided I probably want something bigger to do that, you know, more. Oh, in fact, on this one, well, you know, on the teensy on the back, they will have pins you can hook up to. This one doesn't have that, so it's just the pins. The pins
But
along.
Chef,
Yes.
I don't understand. You are trying to do a remote control through LORA.
Yes.
But have you accomplished that?
Yes, that's what I've been running for 2 or 3 years on it.
Oh, I never understand that.
Well, here, let me, just to show you, let me run upstairs and grab it, and I'll show you what it looks like.
Okay, but I didn't understand.
So let's see, is my audio still on? Yes, it is. So yes. It's one of those Harbor Freight ammo boxes, just a plastic box that you buy. And then I've got I just put a aluminum plate that slides down inside. In fact, it's not even bolted on, so I just pull on it. It comes out like this. So my controls, I have 2 joysticks. You know, they're ones like out of the radio control airplane controllers. And then I've got some switches across the top. And then here's my e-stop button here in the middle. And what else? I've got some push buttons, but I ran out of I/O pins. So I need to either put a different processor in, or maybe if I look hard enough, I can find pins here to hook those up to. But this, and then the power I just have in the bottom of the box. Here's one of those USB charging batteries stuck at the bottom. And it just comes up to a switch on here. So if I turn the switch on, you should be able to see that lights up.
Yes.
And
The LED light up.
That LED is in parallel with the LED on the processor board.
Okay.
You know, that's what they call the GPIO 13 or whatever they call that pin on an Arduino. So that's what that is. And that just allows me to, since I have that there, that tells me if it's transmitting or not. And right now it's doing kind of a slow flickering. And if I go turn the robot on, it will give me a fast flickering, and that tells me what's going on. So anyway, on the back here, here's that board that I was just showing you.
Okay, but I never, I understand because I saw your remote control, but I never understand that you were using LORA for it.
Yes, that's what I'm using. So it's basically that module. As I say, it's like an Arduino with a radio. And so just all the pieces on here like the joysticks have analog that goes right to the thing. So I got 4 analog channels. Then I got the switches across the top here that are just digital inputs. And they just hook right up to that board. And that just makes a complete system then at that point. So at the other end, I was going to put one of these boards at the other end, but then I decided I wanted a CAN interface. So I had to switch over to a Teensy 3.2 in order to get the CAN. But otherwise, this would have worked. I could have just used one of these same boards on the robot and just have either the serial output or whatever I wanted to talk between the things. So that would have worked. It's got a USB connector on. I don't know. I assume it works just like all the rest of them do. That I could, if I plug that right into my ROS computer, I could run it through that way. But I chose to bypass ROS, so mine goes right into my low-level controller. So I can just walk up and turn on the switch on the robot and turn on the switch on the remote control and drive it around without even having a ROS computer plugged in. So I don't have to have a ROS computer and boot it up to get everything to work. And that's kind of handy. That was my goal up front, to be able to do that.
What board do you use in the robot for the LORA reception and transmission?
Well, I've got one of the, see, here's the first one I had that's got the processor board on it. Well, Adafruit also sells one like this. It's just a radio, and the rest of that's just blank space there. So it's the Feather format, but it's the same radio. So then you buy an adapter board from them. It's a Teensy 3.2 to Feather adapter. So I've got 3 boards stacked up. I got the radio, and then I got the adapter board, and then there's a Teensy 3.2 below that. So those 3 together give me that. Whereas I could just go with this instead. If I didn't need the CAN interface, I could go with the with this as a receiver. Now, what I'm thinking about on my remote control transmitter, since this board does not have enough I/O pins, what I'm thinking about doing is put on a Teensy 3.2 or Teensy 3.5, and then Adafruit also sells the board like this, so it's just the radio on just a square module. So you just wire it up. Or since I have this one that's the already bought this one, I could just run wires from this one too. If I knew I had this one extra, I probably wouldn't have bought the little one. But no, I can go either way on that, so I can try that out.
I got one of those, of the other ones. The one that got the chip only. And here in Argentina, we use the 433 band of LORA. I think that here there in the States is 965 megahertz band.
Yeah, here they say you're supposed to use either 896 or 815 or something like that. They got, or 915. That's what they say to use, but they sell the 433 megahertz. You can buy anything you want, and I don't think anybody tracks if you're using the right one or not. So, I think the LORA radio, it's I think what they call spread spectrum. So it uses quite a range of things anyway, and I don't know if that really affects anybody else or not. So that's kind of a mystery to me how that works.
For me too.
So I was thinking I might redo my remote control transmitter, and I don't know if I'll use the same box or build a second one, but I'll use either Teensy 3.2 and probably one of these radios, or use the Teensy 3.5. That'll give me lots and lots of I/O pins on that. And another interesting thing I was looking at, if you look at the look at the Teensy 3.2 and it's got like 24 pins on it or something. And then you look at the 3.5 and it's got like twice as many pins. Well, it turns out if you put a socket on for the 3.5 and then just plug in, you can just plug in a 3.2 here into that socket, and the pins are all the same up. So about half of the pins, when I say they're the same, the powers are the right spot, and everything should work, but there is differences because they move the functions around, so it's not really directly pin for pin. I'm looking at here, it looks like.
One thing that I'm not sure is that one of the boards that you got, the LORA, I think that the space between the pins is not the same as the space between the pins in the Teensy board. The blue one that you show, I think that the spacing between the pins is not the same as the Teensy board.
You mean across the thing? This one is wider, so they don't fit in the same row of pins. But this one, I think, I don't have a teensy. Oh, here's a.
Because the one that I got that problems. I cannot use the breadboards that I have because it doesn't enter in the holes in the breadboard because the spacing is narrow than the ones that you get in the Arduinos and the ESP and the Blue Pill.
Well, I'm looking here for the if you use a proto board like that,
Yes.
it will fit on there. Now the blue one, just barely fits across the thing. So I think I could, if I put it on a proto board, I could do that. I'll probably just use perf board, but I don't know, so just get a board like this,
maybe,
get a board like that and put it on. That might be the way to do it.
Yes, maybe the board that I bought in Argentina is different, and I looked to your one is similar, but it's not the same. The problem was that I tried to put it in the proto board, it doesn't fit.
Yeah, that's something when you're buying parts, you're going to run into something that doesn't work because everybody makes things a little bit differently.
It's the only board that I bought that doesn't fit in a breadboard. I don't know why. The LORA one. The other boards I never have problems, but the LORA one, it's like I don't know why it's different.
Sometimes you buy them, they won't have the standard 10th inch pins. They'll have the some kind of some of them are come in a metric size, and they just won't plug in because of the way it's laid out. So that's something else when you're buying them, look to see if they say it's a standard pin spacing or not. So that's just something else to keep in mind. So then you just have to solder wires on and hook it up that way. That'd be the other option on that. So I think that's all I really had for today was the fact that I'm looking at my LORA radios simply because Al said he was thinking about a remote control system, and Bob's already bought some radios. So I thought I should go back and document what I've done because the most documentation I have is the unit itself. I don't have, I'm too lazy to make up schematics and all that stuff. So I need to do that.
One of the things that I'm not sure, I have to go through the I bring the one transmitter. This is an RF transmitter that I'm using. It's not LORA,
but I was trying to I will work with this. I got in my box sensors. So I got nothing more. It was nice to see you. Sorry for missing the other meetings, but I was in the run, and I will try to come here next week.
Okay. I had to make sure I had the chat saved there so I don't lose that. Yeah, I guess I don't have anything else. The weather right here is up to the freezing point for the next few days. So, but I look at the extended forecast and it's not going to get above freezing for 2 weeks or so. I think it's supposed to snow a lot tomorrow or the next day. So that's just kind of how my life is at the moment.
For my luck here, I'm in Miami and the weather is great here. I don't know why I think that summer will be terrible because I don't understand why all the Americans doesn't live here because it's very good winter.
I think it gets hot and humid down there during the summer, so that might be a
Yes.
problem.
Yes.
That's
So,
why
well,
a lot of people will live in the northern climate, and then during the winter they go to Florida for the winter, and then they come back up here during the summer. So that's some people just move
yeah,
back and forth
yes.
like that.
But now with the COVID thing and the airports and the fly, it's not so easy to do that kind of things.
Yeah.
I expect that I won't have the same problems that I get in June trying to return to Argentina. I hope that will be much easier now. But I think that I got 2 weeks or 3 weeks of work here ahead.
Okay.
So, Chef, bye. See you next week.
Okay.